What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Dew Crew? This is Ball Hawk Ifeatu Melifonwu of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. And I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, it is Lions Talk Live. It is a Monday show edition, and we are getting a little bit closer and closer to the NFL scouting combine getting underway. You're going to see all sorts of news about, hey, this team's interested in that guy. This team might move for this guy or whatever. But we do have a report that came out late last night, early today, suggesting the Lions might just do the latter. They might make a move up on draft day for somebody. We're going to dive into it, and we do want to preclude this draft would be dependent upon the Lions not making a draft date or, a pre-draft trade for an existing NFL player. Both scenarios are going to be detailed during this report. We'll get into it. I actually like... It's one of my favorite things about the offseason is the NFL scouting combine, just because it's something I do with scouting for basketball, etc. I enjoy seeing any kind of new techniques or whatever that different organizations, leagues, or scouting departments use. The process of evaluating talent is always evolving, and you can see more and more teams in respective different sports trying to find better information that helps take everybody to that pick that isn't going to be a bust, is going to be an ideal situation for their respective teams. All right, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into the 5 headlines now, all that jazz. Real quick before we do, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so, making that march for 13,300 subs. We're about 97 subs away from that, so if you can help out with that, that would be great. Also, if you have a half second of time, it is, after all, free of charge, doesn't cost you a dang dime. Reach on down, hit that thumbs up, that like button, hit all the buttons while you're doing it. It helps everybody in YouTube out a lot. The more likes or thumbs up they get, we try to get every episode between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. So if you can assist with that, that would be most welcomed and awesome. Last but never least, if you're considering buying or selling property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, let alone the continental United States, give me a call or shoot me a text. I know some of you guys messaged me yesterday. I'll respond to you today. Sorry, yesterday was all filled with getting ready from the team I coached. The first round of the playoffs were set up or announced. We did get a bye, but trying to break down tons of video and information on all the teams we potentially could face in the first game, and then if we moved on past that. So I was a little distracted with that yesterday, trying to get as much done before we practiced today. Tried to, start working on the last week of the regular season, then get ready for the playoffs. So apologies for that. But if you want to get a hold of me for real estate, been in the industry for over 30 years, you see the number on the screen. It can be commercial property, vacant land, new home, sell your home, whatever it is, 269-998-2384. All right, with all that rambling and bambling out of the way, let's get over to the first segment of the show. And as you know, it is 5 headlines now. Actually think we got some decent headlines today during the offseason. Some days they're good, some days, they're not as good. All right, Lions 2025 Combine Interview Tracker. Story by Christian Boer of SI.com. So we were just talking about the scouting combine. As we all know, it's coming up and pretty soon. The NFL scouting combine will be conducted at Lucas Oil Stadium from Monday through March 3rd. Through the highlights, the highlight attraction will be, as always, the on-the-field testing, et cetera, seeing what different athletes do per their respective positions in the 40-yard dash, the shuttle drill, whatever it is you want to judge them on. That's what they're going to be doing. But here we go. We got a little bit of a tracker. Let's see where I got that here. I moved those notes here. Lions are going to start off by tracking several different players. They cannot fully disclose those players' names, but as we all get it, this week is a big one for the Lions. They're going to be breaking down, it looks like, 25 different interviews over the course of it, and the scouting combine will bring an opportunity for them to potentially, their scouting department, the Lions scouting department, to find some diamond in the roughs. Quote, you want to be in the position to add elite players, and when you're in position to add elite players, you have to do your due diligence, says Brad Holmes in an interview with Local 4 News just yesterday. If we deem a player to be an elite or a player of interest, we might potentially have to focus and reshift our focus onto that player more and more. So what Brad Holmes is talking about during that kind of broken up quote is he brings up, and I'm not going to read all through the quote, but he does bring up when they discovered their high interest in Gibbs a couple seasons ago. He actually, according to this story, Gibbs was not one of their top 5 players initially going into the scouting combine. But after doing some interviews with him, after watching some of his performances, etc., that changed their attitude towards him in a big bad way, to the point where they did move off that number 6 pick, if you guys remember, moved off Jalen Carter, got down to number whatever it was, 12 or whatever, to pick Gibbs. So this article goes ahead and walks you through some of the detailed process the Lions are looking at addressing as far as interviewing players during the first days of the scouting combine. Go check it out. If you're not familiar with how things work, this will at least give you some aspects or light on the situations with it. All right, 5 players Lions fans should watch at NFL Combine, and maybe some clarity on Myles Garrett by Dave Burkett of Detroit Free Press. We all get it. Dave Burkett does this for a living. This is all he does. He is all about the Detroit Lions. He's all about covering them. And yes, he's all about trying to find out if they're going to make a move for Myles Garrett or somebody else. So the combine, with it going around this week in Indianapolis, he's got some stuff for us to consider. So number 1 on the list, he thinks the Lions are going to, or he does know, I should say, the Lions have put in a request to interview Kenneth Grant from Michigan, defensive tackle. If you're in the area of Michigan, there's a likelihood you know who this kid is, but I'm going to assume not everybody does know who this kid is. 3 Wolverines look like they're going to be locks to go in the first round of April's draft. Mason Graham 1, Colston Loveland, and Will Johnson. Grant would hear his name called probably in round 1. He's a massive run stopper at 6'3" and 340 pounds, and some expect him to put on an athletic show at the combine. Some other players, just for the Lions to consider. Real quick, a quote here, talking to the folks where he's been doing a lot of his training at 340 pounds. He shouldn't be able to move around like that, says NFL analyst Daniel Jeremiah. Most of you guys know he used to be a scout, now works in the NFL network, etc., providing content. Quote, you're hoping and dreaming of this Dexter Lawrence type ascension for him once he gets into the NFL draft. Hasn't put it all together, but it's all in there. If you can get him and get him to tap into his full potential, you could have a game record. And I agree with that if you're talking about him, because you know what? I mean, Grant is just rare. And again, if you've watched Michigan, you know what I'm talking about. If not, hey, you got time this week or before the draft, you got a couple months, go check out some stuff on him. Very few human beings on planet Earth have his athleticism, especially laterally. You look at him move, sideline to sideline, left to right or whatever, getting off blockers, etc. Grant not only has the mass, not only has the speed, but for a guy his size to have the lateral quickness, that's where the impressive stuff is to me. I've watched him enough because I have enough friends who are Michigan fans where I do watch the games from time to time, and he is rare. Now, has he fully tapped into that potential? I guess we'll wait and see, but I do think that he would be a player of interest for the Lions in the draft. All right, next one on Dave Burkett's list is, and I'm not going to break down every guy. I went with him a little bit more, the first guy, Grant, just because he's a local kid. Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. If you remember the first mock draft I had, the Lions Talk Live mock draft, it's the only one I've done so far. I did have the Lions targeting this guy, player of interest. He's massive. He's 6'5". He's somewhere between 280, 290 pounds, and he's got a motor. He can defend the run. He can get after him. So the quarterback. So I do think he'd be a player of interest. Will he be there at 28? I think that's a bit of a debate because he is freakish athletic. And you know what? Guys his size, again, we're talking about Grant and then Stewart here. People that size with that kind of speed and athleticism don't grow on trees. That's why I think both of them probably will be gone before number 28. All right, Jalen Reed, safety out of Penn State. I disagree with Dave Burkett on this one. Even though he is a local kid, played at Detroit, Martin Luther King, I get he's a stud. He's really good. But do you really think that in the first round, the Lions are going to potentially go after another safety? I mean, maybe they just say, hey, we're going to go, say goodbye to Ife Melifanu. We're going to go with Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, and add a third safety. I mean, it is possible, I suppose, if that's what we want to do with the defense. I just don't see that being a possibility. I've been wrong before. Some other players Dave Burkett puts on there are more kind of towards the middle rounds. He's got running back Jalen Blue from Texas. And again, this would be more of a middle to late round pick. Tight end Harold Fanning Jr. from Bowling Green. And again, tremendous player. I just don't think it's somebody the Lions are going to go after early in the draft. He does also offer in this article, and I know I'm going on way too long about this headline, an update on the Myles Garrett trade rumors. I'm not going to walk you through all of it. The only thing I will say to it that is of interest, at least to me, and if you want to check out the story, go check it out, is he does quote an anonymous source saying one of the agents for Myles Garrett is due to start being at the combine and talking to people. Now, why is this of interest? It's my guess he's probably signed to a couple people that are going to enter the NFL draft. So he legally can be there representing his clients, right? And everybody knows he's going to probably use this to his advantage to talk to teams, multiple different teams, about Myles Garrett, because you're there talking to him about your client who's up at the combine right now. Hey, you kind of throw a little elbow and say, hey, what about that other client of yours? Maybe don't name the names because that would break some rules, but probably have some conversations off the record. It's my guess if Myles Garrett really is going to be traded, though, the crux of that trade is going to happen this week at the scouting combine, and that's something Dave Burkett kind of lightly words or refers to, and I think he's right that while everybody's there watching people at the scouting combine, they will be talking to that agent about Myles Garrett. All right, Detroit Lions safety Brian Branch triples his pay during the 2026 NFL season. Story by Mark, I'm going to kill that last name, Innebeck of AL.com, and that's, I'm assuming, Alabama.com. So we all get it. When you get a rookie contract, you're not going to get the big bag that you will if you get your second contract, and especially with that same team. But kudos to Brian Branch. He's been one of the better draft picks for the Detroit Lions. Not that we haven't had a ton of good draft picks over the Brad Holmes regime, but Brian Branch, I think most people would say now, if you rewent and did that draft, reworked that draft, orchestrated that draft, he would be a first-round pick. Would he be in the top 10? Maybe not. Would he be in the teens, early 20s? Probably. Brian Branch was an absolute steal for this team, and he's been a little underpaid by his productivity measurements in the NFL. Branch is going to enter his 2025 season and is going to get an estimate of $5.351 million. So good for him. I think he's definitely earned it, and I hope he saves his money wisely because I'm not a big spender, so hopefully he can keep some of that and invest it or something like that. All right, cornerback with notable big game experience, maybe Lions ideal Carlton Davis pivot. USA Today with this one. Carlton Davis, I think, is going to be in play for the Detroit Lions. Once upon a time, if you would have asked me 2-3 weeks ago, I would have said Carlton Davis is probably out of Detroit. Most of you guys seem to have that feel too. We've talked about, San Francisco is going to sign him. Miami Dolphins are going to sign him. Houston Texans are going to sign him. I mean, you guys got it. Everybody was after him. He is one of the top premier 100 free agents available this spring. And if that were to happen, this story does have an ideal replacement for him. I will also say, I do think things, have come to light that Carlton Davis really does like the Detroit Lions, loves playing for MCDC. I would have, before that story came out, I would have said there's maybe a 30% chance CD3 re-ups with us. I would say now it's probably closer to 60%. So there's still good room for him to go somewhere else, but I do think it's not as unforeseen a possibility as once upon a time thought. In case he does leave, though, one of the guys being recommended that the Lions go out and get, and he is, I would agree with this, is Charvarius Ward from the 49ers. It would almost be like a swap, I guess you could say, of players for one another. The chances are the 49ers aren't going to be able to sign them both or wouldn't re-sign them both. Would Ward be able to come on in and help out Detroit? I think the simple answer is yes. He'd be able to come in, do quite a lot of good things. They do have some similarities between the two. Personally, I just like the idea of CD3 returning just because you know who he is. He knows the systems. He knows Kelvin Shepard. I mean, he knows everybody here. I'd rather keep our own than bring somebody new in. But, hey, if it happens, it's not a bad idea to try to go after this guy and maybe get him. There could be some other free agents for sure. He's just one of the ones that comes quickly to mind. All right, and then let's see. Last of the 5 headlines now, discussion. Which positions are realistic first-round options for the Detroit Lions? Story by John Whitaker of SB Nation. All right, let's go into Johnny's story here, see what he has to say. And I would say if you break it on down, this is what he's got. We all probably going to agree with these picks to a certain degree. Let's go through the positions. He says one at a time. Quarterback, not realistic. I get it. You probably get it. Lions are pretty set at quarterback unless you're just going to take some late round guy, developmental guy. Unless we do something with Hendon Hooker, trade him away or something, he does appear to be the backup quarterback. Jared Goff's got a new deal. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. Running back, we're stacked at running back. We're probably one of the deepest teams in the NFL. Gibbs is generational, it would appear. Dave Montgomery is pretty dang good. Sion Vaki is an unknown, but we do know Craig Reynolds, if he re-ups with Detroit, etc., is a proven guy. Are you really going to invest more draft capital in the running back spots? Probably not. Wide receiver, kind of one that I would say most of us would say this is an area of opportunity here to maybe improve the depth. Jameson Williams has become the guy or ascended towards the guy that we thought we were getting when we drafted him, and I still think he's got more upside. St. Brown, he is one of the best guys in the NFL. Beyond that, that's where it gets a little dicey. Khalif Raymond has done a great job backing up. He's going to be here for another couple seasons, so hey, kudos to him for being here. Tim Patrick was great last year, but you know what? We got to re-sign somebody. If he doesn't sign here, you're going to need someone. I don't think it's going to be a first-round grade, and neither does John in this report here, but he does think it's realistic the Lions sign somebody or draft somebody in the draft. Tight end, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one. Sam Laporte is great. Brock Wright's pretty dang good. Not realistic for them to draft, especially high. Offensive line, realistic. We get it. Starting offensive line's good. The backup's kind of we'll have to wait and see, I guess. Defensive tackle, I think is highly realistic, and it's in the story as well. It is an area of opportunity for us because Aleem McNeil is going to be out for a while. Probably looking at the Lions drafting somebody for defensive tackle, either this first round, second round, etc. Because even if you're thinking, all right, Aleem McNeil is going to be okay, DJ Reader's only got 1 year left on that deal. Do you want to bring in somebody fresh next year or start that process now? Broderick Martin, hey, is he something? Is he a bust? I don't know. We'll have to find out these OTAs in preseason. All right, defensive end. Also very realistic. Kind of not as dire, I think, as perhaps the defensive tackle position. But if defensive tackle's 1, then you know what? Defensive end's probably 1A. I think the Lions need more priority on pass rush. We saw that last year, especially with all the injuries. Aiden Hutchinson, if he returns to form, great. He's generational. You know what? Make that defensive line generational by adding more talent to it. Linebacker, could you add somebody? Sure, but I think it would be later the mid-rounds. Cornerback, Carlton Davis, that's the answer. If he signs, maybe it's less of a priority. If he doesn't sign, it's probably very realistic. Safety, you'd be doing it for depth. Special teams, probably not at all. All right, went way too long with these 5 headlines now, but let's get us on over to the main topic of the day. Oh, you got to love this time of the year. Everybody's talking about the scouting combine. Everybody's talking about trades. Everybody's talking about free agents. You're talking about adding. You're talking about subtracting. But you know what? We did have a report that came out yesterday, and this is going to be from Sideline Report. They're saying that they are aware that the Lions are looking to move up the draft board to acquire a player or two of interest. So they do talk about all this is predicated on the idea the Lions don't make a draft date or trade or pre-draft trade for Myles Garrett, Max Crosby. I mean, whoever else you want to list. I guess, what's his name over the Bengals? Hendrickson. I still think Hendrickson seems like the most ideal trade for us. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but we all know the Bengals are in some salary cap issues. They've got a lot of big name weapons to re-sign. With his age, Hendrickson's age, he seems like he's got to get a new deal. He's probably the more likely guy out, but one never knows. All right, so let's assume that they are correct and the Lions do not make the Myles Garrett or somebody else trade. They're going to propose trade up targets. Proposed trade up target lands no-brainer for the Lions. They're going to walk us through it. Detroit Lions are fresh off the most successful regular season in team history and a disappointing playoff exit in the divisional round. One of the biggest reasons the Lions came up short for the team's Super Bowl appearance was a lack of consistent pass rush after Aiden Hutchinson was lost for the season. I think we'd all agree with that statement. Nothing big there. So they walked through a couple different guys that they think the Lions potentially could move up the board for, and let's go through it. Quote, Shamir Stewart will likely garner more pre-draft buzz, so much so that it's possible that teammate Nick Sorston will be there at number 28. But the 6'4", 280-pounder could be worth a move up by the Lions if he had one of the more, as he has one of the more NFL-ready edge prospects in the draft and has drawn comparisons to longtime Saints star Cameron Jordan. And I would agree with that assessment. I think they're both very similar. Now, I'm not going to read through the entire story. You guys can do that on your own. But they do outline a couple different situations where the Lions move up even into the teens for specific people. They do feel there's a strong possibility that I know one of the favorite sons of the Duke crew is a guy named Mike Green. If you guys don't know him, go check him on your own. They think Mike Green might end up being drafted in the high teens, early 20s, and they do think the Lions might pull the trigger on either him, Stewart, or Nick Sorston. Scorton, whatever. Anyways, you guys get who I'm talking about. I think that does seem like a very likely situation for Brad Holmes and Lions. Now, we've all been a fan of this team for long enough to know that, hey, draft day, Brad does like to pull the trigger. He likes to wheel and deal, especially on draft day. We don't always agree with the moves. Some of the moves work out, some of them don't. Let's remember just a couple, maybe a year or two ago, a lot of Lions fans were up in arms that, hey, James Williams wasn't panning out, wasn't doing this, that, and the other thing. I think nowadays we could say that move seems to be working out, and it's probably going to work out long-term for the Lions. I think he will get a second contract. We can say what we want about Broderick Martin. I'm still on the fence about it because I do think Broderick Martin, if he performs well this year, it was a good move. If he doesn't, then, hey, it may be Brad Holmes' first real bust. But Brad Holmes makes moves on draft day. He likes to move up. We all know that he traded number 6 to go down and get Laporta and Gibbs. Could this be the next situation where Brad does make a draft day trade? I think so. Because when you look at the Lions, and I know we've talked about this a gajillion times before, Lions already have 52 guys under contract. Can he really add 7 draft picks and keep them? No, he can't, unless you're going to cut some of those guys that were in the 52. So with that being said, what would it cost for the Lions to move up from 28 to number 20? My guess is you're probably looking at at the least, I would think, a third this year and probably a third next year. What did you just get from the NFL for Glenn signing with the Jets as their new head coach? You got 2/3. So let's Scooby-Doo this. Could the Lions give up their first this year, 2/3 in the future? Well, I guess one of them is next year. One would be this year, and go up and get one of these ends. If you had to guess which one it would be, who would you want to see? I'm torn on it because I think all of them have their strengths. That's clear. Now, I get the Lions prototypically want bigger ends, at least opposite Hutchinson. Well, Scorton would be just that. We all get Stewart is that as well. Stewart is, gosh, I'm trying to remember off the top of my noggin now. I want to say he's like roughly the same. He's 6'5", 280, 290 pounds. And then, so they're all big options other than Green. Green's in the 250 mold. but Green also has generational, I guess you could say, speed or game-changing speed. You talk about tracking down mobile quarterbacks. Well, you need more athleticism to do that. Mike Green, I would compare him in a lot of ways. Anybody who's watched Lions Talk Live for a while knows I was a big fan of James Houston. Mike Green is a more polished, NFL-ready version, in my opinion, of James Houston. He's got nearly the same dip and rip. He's got the flexibility, the bend. James Houston, before the ankle, break and leg break, just unforeseeable, undescribable, whatever you want to say, bend and what he could do to maintain his speed, his body mass, and get down low away from offensive tackles. Mike Green is close to that. I'm not going to say he's James Houston in that way, but he does have perhaps even more speed than James Houston. So could you get him? He's a little bit bigger. He can help out the run better. Probably add another, 5 or 10 pounds on him and try to keep most of that agility and speed. I think that could be something to do. But I'm not here to tell you what I would do. I want to know what the Do Crew would draft or who you would trade up for. Let me know in the comments section, and then let's get over to that right now. Sorry, I'm a little scrambled this morning. Woke up way late. I guess I must have hit snooze a few times on that alarm clock. So some of my notes and stuff, I'm, doing this on the fly today. All right, Michael D., great salutations, coach and Do Crew, ! One pride. And back at you, JDC, morning all. Same to you, JDC. Detroit D., greetings, salutations to the Do Crew. And always to you, D. Stephanie, good morning, boys! ! I've been saying for a while, I think Brad would make a draft on day. Draft day. Okay, how about a trade on draft day? How about that? That seems more like his style than giving him 2 or 3 firsts for one player. I would agree with that. Now, we all know in the past few seasons, Brad Holmes has made some calls to acquire some people. So I wouldn't rule it out that he's potentially looking to make a trade for a player like a Myles Garrett or somebody. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I wouldn't rule it out. Shamir, top of the morning, Do Crew, same to you. Clark, what's shaking, Do Crew? ? Are we trading for a current NFL player or moving up or down in the draft? The title isn't clear regarding that. In the according to the report there, Clark, it would be trading up for one of the listed players I just gave you, maybe even somebody else. Bo, good morning, Do Crew. Power of suggestion, ? I suggest Super Bowl. Woo! And back at you. Big Eddie Green, salutations. Good morning to all those in the Do Crew. Coach, if we draft up, trade up in the draft, man, what's up with all the draft up in the draft? Who do you feel we should target? My opinion, it would probably be, boy, I hate saying this, but it probably would be Sherman Stewart. I like him. I really like Mike Green. I don't think you're going to do wrong with either of them. Nick Scourton, I'd like him too. If they really want to give up the farm, maybe James Pierce, but I just think you're going to have to give up way too much to move up that far to get Pierce. Abdul Carter, I get it. He's probably going to be number 3 or 4 in the draft. Pierce is probably somewhere around 10 to 12. Could the Lions really give up enough to go get Pierce Jr.? It's possible, but it doesn't seem like a Brad Holmes move to me. Rob, greetings, salutations. Dan Duker, the Lions are the grooviest, Stadio. Yes, they are. Yes, they are indeed. And good to see you this morning. Bus driver Brent, good morning. Good morning, Duke Crew and Coach Dan. Remember to hit that thumbs up button, the like button. Grab yourself a coffee or a do and enjoy the show. And always try to enjoy the show and have a good start to your morning. Johnny L., good morning to the crew and Coach Dan, too. And same to you, Johnny. Trey, what's up, Duke Crew and Coach D? ? Our man Brad never stops. I bet he's talking to every team in the league about some type of deal. We just don't know about it all. No, I'd say that's pretty accurate. Most GMs, to be fair, do have tons of conversations on a fairly regular basis with their counterparts at other teams, just trying to, poke the water, or what do you want to say, poke the bear, see what somebody's open to, testing things out. If you guys ever see the movie Moneyball, I guess it was out maybe 10 years or whatever it was ago, I thought they did a decent job kind of representing that. The only thing I would say is I really don't think Brad Pitt's character is flying all the way to Cleveland to have a 5-minute conversation about players. Maybe it actually happened that way. I don't know, but that seems more like a phone call to me. All right, Rob, shout out to the Red Wings and Pistons, both of who held off late surges to win. Both of them are in the playoffs as of today. Hey, how things are changing in Detroit with this pro sports teams. Michael, good morning, Duke Crew. What a beautiful morning to wake up to. 100%, my friend. Every day I wake up, I feel good about it. Rob, that would be all for Detroit major league franchises this season. Good for them. And like I said, man, things are changing with Detroit sports. Pierce, hoping to move up for a pass rusher. Me too. I would guess that's where most of us would be targeting. I know there's some suggestions we could go after offensive line or something, and not that I would have a problem with it. I just think pass rush is probably more of a need for us. But, hey, the Lions know the team better than we do. If they feel like some of those guys they've drafted aren't panning out on the D-line, or O-line, then maybe that's the way they go. Tori, if we trade up in the draft, realistically, how far can we move up? I'm going to say probably maybe like 10 spots. So that puts us at number 18. Maybe you can make an argument for a little bit more. But obviously, the farther you move up, the more you're giving up. Pierce, Tori Apple, I would think maybe late teens. Yeah, well, I think we're on the same page here. Remember, we fleeced the Vikings and moved up 20 picks. Yes, and now whether or not we could replicate that, I don't know, because we didn't give up much to move up and get Jameson Williams. France, we don't need a lot more talent, but if we can improve drastically in the pass rush and one more corner, I think we are set. I would go with that. I think all that would help a lot, and then add some depth pieces here and there. Johnny L, I shake my head at all the clickbait crap out there, but some of it does make me laugh. Hey, just have fun with it. It's that time of year, man. It's part of it. You know, I mean, the only thing I could say, Johnny, is everybody's trying to keep people entertained. So here's how I choose to look at it. It's entertainment, and people are working their butt off to try to keep you entertained. So, you know, don't overthink it, man. Silver Server, look at Coach getting us curious with his headlines. Hey, that's what, you know, what part you do. You got to have a reason for somebody to buy that newspaper, right? Bo, I suggest we move up to the 12. It seems to be a good spot. Let's see if we do. Henry Moore, good morning, my friends. What a team. What a podcast. What a time to be a Lions fan. Woo! Go Lions. I concur, and thanks for that, by the way. Tori, Pierce Hudger, more or less where I was considering. Yeah, I think a lot of people would say that's a fairly realistic area. Silver Server, who are they trading for? Earl Campbell or Lawrence Taylor? I'd probably take LT myself. Pierce, France, agreed. I would also look at a third receiver only if Patrick goes. Yeah, I think either way, even if they re-sign Patrick Pierce, I do think they'll probably address this position, but probably middle to later rounds, etc. Phil, good morning. Back at you, Philly. Jess, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew. I smell something cooking. Must be Brad's in the kitchen. Ooh, well said. I like that one. Southwest, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew. And morning, Stephanie, 100%. Whatever move we make, I just hope it's the best move. Go Lions. Yeah, you got to believe if they are pulling the trigger on any move, they believe that's the correct move for the Lions. So I agree with you fully there, Southwest. Susan, good morning, everyone. Any updates on us resigning and guys resigning with us? Nothing as of today, at least nothing I've heard of. You know, I know they're still talking with Kevin Zeitler, trying to make that happen. I suspect they're talking with a lot of the guys, trying to get a deal that would work for both parties. Silver Server, I tell you, Coach, those are the two players I would add to the team. If you want to throw in Larry Allen or John Hanna, I'll take them. All right? Well, I don't know how they'll all hold up at their current ages, but hey, we can always give it a shot, right? Ken, good morning, Duke Crew. Back at you. Five fingers ready. What time is it? Question mark. Offseason trade talk time. Draft time. Talk free agent signing time. I love it all. Some people do love it. I also get some people don't like it, but you know what? What else you want to talk about during the offseason? We can talk about the grass. We can talk about the field. We can talk about maybe flights over Ford Field. You know, you come up with stuff for people to engage with, and hopefully it works for some. All right, Virgil Rose, good morning, all. I'm thinking we could make a move up in the draft board, like we did with J-Mo. Yeah, 100%. Now, whether or not we can move up 20-some spots in the first round, you just don't see that happen very often, especially for what we gave Minnesota, which wasn't a ton. So as well, don't forget the draft day trade for Gibbs and again for Branch. Yeah, we've made a lot of moves with Brad Holmes. Johnny L, what's going on? JDC, Johnny L, just starting my day off with Lions Talk Live. Hey, glad to have you here, JDC, Voltron Force, and Manu Martin. Yeah, 100%. We've had a lot of different draft day deals. Johnny L, we're having a heat wave over here. Okay, I guess I don't know where you are, Johnny L. Hopefully it's not too hot for you. Marcus, good morning. Dan, the Duke Crew. Shocker. Okay, I'll go with some shockers. Let's have some shocking news. All right, Johnny L, me too, JDC, Pat. Hey, all 12-win season incoming next year. Our defense will help carry the workload. 100%, my friend. I think you're right with that. I could see us winning anywhere between 12 and maybe 13 games. I know it's a tough schedule, but I also think the Lions are talented enough where, hey, most Sundays they're going to have a realistic expectation of winning. Pierce, Pet Rock, I see a 13 and 14 wins. Okay, I'll take that. Our home schedule this year, I see undefeated and splitting road games at 5 and 4 or 6 and 3. I like the way you're thinking there, Pierce. Stephanie, if we do trade up into the teens in the draft, it has to be for an edge, right? I'm thinking the answer is yes, Stephanie. I mean, it could always be for something else, but I would think it would have to be something on the defensive line and probably edge in that scenario. I think there's more talent at the defensive tackle this year in the draft than there is at the edge. That's my personal opinion, though. Jim, good morning, all. The Talking Heads have about 10 All-Pros coming to the Lions. Glad to sign Glasgow. There you go. Courtney, good morning, Coach Dan, the Duke Crew. Back at you. Black J.R. Jones, good morning, live from South Jersey. One pride. Hey, hope you're having a great start to your day. Johnny L. Stephanie Walla, I sure hope so. Dave Bing, love me some Lions Talk live in the morning while heading to work. Thank you all for this group. Hey, no worries. The Duke Crew seems like a pretty good group. I never have a problem with it, and hopefully you guys all enjoy being here and part of the crew too. Robert, greetings, salutations, Dan and crew. Same to you, Robert. Hookadoo, good morning, Duke Crew. Brad Holmes' mind is just cooking away. Yeah, I think he's doing everything he can to have misdirection with teams, to get all the information he wants about certain guys, and not revealing his poker cards or face to anybody. Lions Talk Live fan, get pressure on the quarterback, and the defense gets easier for the rest of the D unless injuries. You're not wrong there. You can always use the reference of the Philadelphia Super Bowl a month ago, whatever it was now. And I think nothing could be more accurate than that. You get to the other team's quarterback, you make them one-dimensional. And if your offense can build a lead, man, the game gets a whole lot easier for everybody on that D. All right, Johnny L. Yeah, it's a great group. Dave Bing, I would agree with that. Marcus, hit that like and subscribe button. Shocker. All right, there you have. If you guys can, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe. I would thank you very much for that. DM5 TV, let's go, Brad. Make some trades happen. This has to be our year. I think so, too. And again, can he keep all 7 guys? It is possible to keep all 7 drafted guys, but you're also letting go of some current guys then. And I just look at their roster, and I don't see a lot of people that would be easy cut candidates. Big D, morning crew, back at you. Keith, good morning and greetings, salutations. Dan of the Duke Crew, exclamation point. I'm going with that. Don Kong, hey, it's been a minute since I've seen it. There are not rumored to make a move. These are tube shows put these lies. Everyone knows Brand is not making a huge move. Well, as you guys know, this is a reference from an article. So do reference the article. Then let's see, Brad ain't making no huge move because those moves are not smart. Well, I guess by that logic, then Donkey Kong, we would have made the move up for Jameson Williams, which would be considered moving up 20 spots in the draft. That's a massive move. That's not a huge move. That's massive. So again, it would be trading up in the draft. All right, Marcus, combine time. Yeah, one of my favorite times of the year. David, Lions aren't going to do crap. Well, you never know. But David, Broski, would you have said that about the trade for Jameson Williams? Would you have said that about the trade for Hendon Hooker, Brian Branch, let's see, Gibbs, Laporta? I guess all those didn't happen either. All right, Marcus Shocker at Dunk Kong. There you go. Vincent E. Lions are going to make a splash signing. They might do that. We'll see. All right, Broski Bear. The only person that's going to be busy this offseason is Broski. Yes, indeed. Rob Kendall, be groovy and smash that button for Coach Dan, the man with the plan. Hey, there you go. I want my two. I think Dave Grossi is having a bad morning. Yes, and I do love the reference there. I love, Better Off Dead. That's the name of the movie. Yeah, love that movie, man. Trumps, we do need to dodge the injury bug this season. No, do not sign often injured free agents. Yeah, I agree with you. I get why Brand Holmes does it, but I also think, man, I don't know. Everybody has their own way of doing things. How about that? Rob Kendall, not one dang dime down it. 100%. Gun guy. I remember a couple years ago, a lot of people were wanting to get rid of Goff. What happened to those bandwagon fans? They're still there, man. Unfortunately, when the Lions, you probably know, Gun Guy, when the Lions lost to Washington, those guys just popped back up. Some people want Goff out of here right away. The only thing I would say is if you're always chopping the head off the quarterback, you're never going to have a quarterback. I know Brand Holmes has said it. It's going to be hard to get better than Goff, and that's what I would always throw out there to people when they say, you got to move off Jared Goff. Okay, who are you bringing in that's clearly better? If you don't have an answer, why are you getting rid of the guy you have? Because you're not going to trade for Patrick Mahomes. You're not going to trade for, I'm trying to think, Josh Allen, maybe? I'm trying to think of the clear-cut better quarterback than Goff. Rocky, Coach Rock, good morning all. Hope everyone's doing well. Back at you. Craig, my favorite Lions podcast, exclamation point. You rock, no way. You rock, Craig. And hopefully everybody in the Duke crew rocks too. Walter, good morning, sir. Back at you. Rob, gun guys, some still do. 100%. They do. Dog Kong, David Gusa is just fed up with these lies and fake reports. And guys, the only thing I can say is in the offseason, every reporter, like we said with these stories, they're going to write stuff. They've got to put out content. I'm referencing one of the stories that came out yesterday. If you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. What do you want to talk about during the offseason? Maybe that's the question I should ask those in the Duke crew. What do you want to talk about on a daily show in regards to the Lions? Let me know. All right, Jess, good Dave, Detroit sports, Tigers, Red Wings, and Pistons won. Life is good in the D. I agree with that. Trump and winning bigly. There we'll go with that. Marcus, the Lions will not sign a big free agent and will only re-sign their key free agents. I'd be okay with it. This is not shocker. No, I would be okay with that, Marcus. If we just resign, say, Levi and whoever else they're going to re-sign, hopefully Kevin Zeitler, then I would say that's probably a win for the team. But we'll see what they do. Dunk Kong, gun guy, Goff is south. That's it? Okay. Yeah, and I don't have a problem with Goff, but I also get why people want to get better than him. I also say, like we just said minutes ago, who are you getting that's clearly better than him? DM5, gun guy, there are still plenty of fans who don't believe in Goff. If he doesn't play well this year, he's gone. We'll eat that contract like the Falcons with Cousins. Could be. Yeah, 100%. Johnny L, I love Jared Goff. I think a lot of fans do. Keith, thank you. He says thank you to Rocky. DM5, why tolerate him for one more year? Okay, well, you might have to. Trumps, do not sign any has been a defensive end draft a young stud. Yeah, we might have to go after it. And that's what the trade up report suggested, that we would trade on up for one of those guys. All right, just trading is a two-party transaction. Got to have a willing partner. You're not wrong there. It seems like sometimes we forget that by wanting players from other teams, it is not like shopping at a store. Got to have a seller. You do have to have a seller. Don Kong, Goff was worth every penny of that contract. He will be fine. What Goff needs to be successful is everything he already has and throw in a top 10 D. Yeah, I get what you're saying there, Don Kong. I think if the defense would have been normal and not all beat up in the playoff game, Goff probably would have performed better. In my opinion, it's just my opinion, Goff seemed to seem stressed to me, like he felt like he had to score every time they got the ball, which probably led to some of the miscues. Keith, we need Garrett. I know you're a big fan of him, and I know you want him. I know a lot of Lions fans do. I just personally don't see that trade happening, but been wrong before. Just Goff is a keeper for sure. I'll go with that. Trump, no on Garrett. He would be on it by week 5. Okay. All right. IR. Okay. Don Kong, Garrett will not be a line. I would agree with that. Probably Don Kong. Just don't need Garrett. Need to boost the pressure on the quarterbacks, but that can be done without getting him. Okay. I'm down with that. Hookadoo, Goff isn't going anywhere. He's a Lion and will be. Yeah, I think you're probably right there, sir. Johnny L, yo, Just Cruz, yes, he is. Miles Martin, greetings, salutations, coach and crew, to all that gave to Children of Fallen Patriots fundraiser. Thank you. Over 1 million raised. That's awesome, man. Lions fans showed strong grit, 100%. DM5, we Garrett and some other top free agents, and Goff still wets the bed. The problem is clearly him. What's your excuse then? Hopefully it works out. Yeah, at the end of the day, that'd be the best scenario. Hopefully it all works out. Jess, yeah, it's not a thing that Holmes does. Look at his history. He will do his due diligence, but the cost is prohibitive. Yeah, I agree with that. He doesn't like to overspend. Keith, heck yes, Kenneth Granite. He is a hell of an athlete at his size, and he got a heck of an upside. I think he does, man. When you watch the film on him, you can see where some techniques could really be polished up. Now could they go that direction in the first or second round? I think second round seems more likely. Is he going to be there at that point? Yeah, that I don't know. Brazy, who we getting, coach? It sounds like the Lions could potentially be looking to trade up in the draft from 28 to maybe 22, 20, something in that range. And that brings up the big question then, Breezy. Who are you taking in that spot? If you're trading up, clearly Brad Holmes has a person of interest after him. I think the scouting combine is going to be big for us. It at least get some more information on separating some of those guys. I know we mentioned it during the main topic. I really do like all three of those prospects, and there could be others, but I think it comes down to what you want out of those ends. There are some real wins there, some guys that need more development or coaching, but that's what the Lions coaching staff is strong at. All right, Kurt Steele, what up, though? Duke Crew, what's up, man? Of Steel, dunk on. Brad will probably draft best player available, so yeah, I agree with that. It seems to be his mantra and formula. Good morning, Myles Garrett. Grit did win. Oh, yeah, I'm down with that. Rob Kendall, what up, though, man of Steel? Kurt Steele, hit that like button for the newlywed Coach Dan. Thank you for that, Kurt. Thank you very much. Myles Garrett, one pride, Hookadoo. Dunk on, congratulations, Dan. Hope you got a prenup. Jen did not make me sign one. So, hey, if she passed away, I get all of her, supplements and stuff for working out. So they're all mine. DM5 TV, congratulations, Dan, on your nuptials. Thank you very much. Keith, what do you got? I would love the Lions to draft Grant or another top defensive tackle and love Stewart from Michigan. Yeah, but all of those would be good players. Jess Holmes could move up in the draft. He has that history, his preference. Correct. And that's what the report suggests. To me, out of all the different stuff we've heard so far this offseason, today's report seems like the most plausible one because Brad Holmes does have such a history in the draft of making these moves. All right, Southwest, if Cleveland moves from Garrett, get him out. I think that he would be definitely somebody you want to go after. I really think if the Lions are going to go after him, it can't be 2 first-round picks. I could see Brad doing a first this year, a third and a fifth this year or something like that next year. I just don't see him giving up multiple firsts. Jess, Holmes' trading record is worse than his draft record aside from the Stafford deal. Okay. John, congratulations on the wedding. Woo! I'm down with that. Rob, and thank you for that, John. Rob, Mazel Tov, Dan. Thank you, Jess. It is best to curb your expectations. Holmes usually underwhelms us with his trades. No expectations means no disappointment. Now that is some fortune teller cookie wisdom right there, and I agree with you, Jesse. J-Mo, good morning, Coach and the Duke Crew and diehard Lions fans. Woo! And good morning to you, too. Good to see you in the chat, my friend. DM5 CD wants to be a Lion. This is a no-brainer for Brad Holmes. Re-sign CD3. I agree, man. I like him. And I do like the possibility of him coming back more and more. JNL, this is great. 100%. I'll take that. Marcus, Coach Dan, do you think Stafford gets traded again? Yes, I do think so. And I do think the likelihood is probably going to be Minnesota. Minnesota probably gets him for 1-2 years. Develops J.J. McCarthy, who's probably a real pain in our butt the Vikings become for that time frame. Kenneth, Hutch, McNeil, DJ Reader, Garrett, what a D-line, then draft Green and Darius Smith and others coming off the bench, question mark, wow, exclamation point. What a D-line, quarterbacks will be having nightmares and will be Super Bowl bound. I like it indeed. Phil, did not Bridgewater take a pay cut? Does that mean he's our backup? As far as I know, he's going back to coaching in high school, and who knows after that. But maybe I missed something there, Phil, so apologies if I did. John, morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. Woo! Roar! Love the banter between the diehard fans. One pride. 100%, man. This time of year, it's all speculation. I get it. So some people love it. I get some people don't love it as much. Just try to enjoy it to the best you can. Derek Stafford isn't getting traded. Kelly is teams don't want his wife. Man, you might be right. That could be the trade killer right there. Need CD3 back, says Kenneth. Draft more defensive tackles. Probably can never have enough on this team. Vernon, good morning, Coach and crew. Coach, do you think Brad Holmes, both third-round picks this year, also trade a second-round pick and fifth-round pick for Garrett? I think it's going to take more than that. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there isn't as big a market for Myles as we were thinking. Maybe you could get away with a second, 2/3, and a fifth. I don't know. I just don't see the Browns giving up easy. I think Myles Garrett would have to put the heat on them saying, hey, you make a trade or I'm not playing, because then you've got to make a choice. Get something versus having nothing. I guess we'll see. DM5, Kenneth Muhammad, she has some very large teeth and that Sleep Number commercial. Geez, all right. The Trim Reaper, what up, Coach and Duke Crew? Woo! What's up, man? How you doing? Kenneth, DM5 TV, what? DM5 TV, wrong person. Derek, all right. Frank Tank, number one reason why Detroit Lions did not make it to the Super Bowl is because of injuries. I would agree with that fully. Derek, Travarius Ward's quarterback from the San Francisco is someone Detroit might look at if Carlton Davis leaves. Correct. Yeah, and I think we had that during the 5 headlines today. Let's see. Silver Star Kenneth Grant, question mark. Best possible pick as far as I am concerned. Hey, nothing wrong with that, man. He is a player of interest. JJ Jr., we are not stacked at running back. We have one great running back, one decent running back, and then Craig Reynolds, he stinks, and Vaki is an unknown. Yeah, I'll go with that. Vaki is an unknown. Jerome Davis, if Lions can't get Myles Garrett type, then they need strength in numbers, and that D-line and a few good men instead of one great man would be sufficient. Yeah, you're going to have to do some stuff for sure if you can't get somebody. I think today's report about them potentially trading up in the first round, that does seem plausible to me. Vincent E. Martin is a bust. I hope not, man, but right now it's trending that way. Trim Reaper, holy bejesus, gun guy can say more words than take your pants off learning. Woo! Oh, yeah, I'll go with that. Silver Server, Lions are going to have to trade up if they want Grant. What do you think? Not there at 28th? I don't think so either. I think he'd probably go somewhere between 19 and 24, somewhere in that range. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe he does real well at the combine and moves him up to like 15 to 12, somewhere in that range. Frank Tank, Detroit Lions would trade out of the first round. Maybe. JDC, woo, and back at you. Frank Tank, I believe Detroit Lions will have to trade out of the first round last year if it was not here in Detroit. Okay, yeah, if they would have traded out of the first round if it wasn't in Detroit, that might be. Super Bowl 2024, Myles Garrett and Mad Max. Man, if you get them both, oof. That D-line would be pretty impressive. So another safety. Darn Vaki is the other safety. We'll see if they move him there. Daniel Jeremiah has Mike Green going number 9. We don't have a way up to get him. No, if he really is going to go that high in the draft, I don't think there's any chance of us getting him. Rocky, we're a player or two away. Trade most of our picks this year and some next year and get Garrett. Don't have room for all these picks anyways. Yeah, I would think there's a lot of wisdom there. Frank, first time in my life, do not care about the draft this year. There's a lot of fans that don't now because you know what? It's not as impactful. It's not your Super Bowl like it used to be for us. Spirit, Landon Jackson, I know you've been on that one. So maybe. 313, I want that defensive end from Oregon. Okay, Benjamin, the defense or only offense will take care of itself. Okay, Derek, I was 1,250 on the depth chart at safety for the Lions last season, and I suited up for the game against Washington. All right, I'll take that. Vernon, I bet Dan Campbell got his fingers if Brad Holmes can pull off a monster trade, not like Broderick Martin. Someone like Green would also, or Garrett, that make more sense. Okay, yeah, maybe they do go that route. DM5, re-sign CD3, Kevin Zeitler, Davenport, and trade up for Garrett and draft who we can that's available. Yeah, the best player available. I'm down with that. Frank Tank, Detroit Lions make a big trade, but it will not be until trade deadline. Yeah, that might be. Dr. Detroit, focus on Garrett. Okay. Frank Tank, let's see. The days are done for Detroit Lions to be picking in the top 10 draft. This is what we wanted. I believe Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, and Detroit Lions Sheila. Okay. Johnny L., can I get a Sheila? Woo! You want a Sheila Woo? I'll give you a Sheila Woo. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Miles Martin, you got that right, Frank Tank. Dr. Detroit, Kenneth Grant is my buddy's cousin. Okay. Is your buddy's cousin. 313. Birch and Harmon will be nice. They would be. JDC, Johnny L, Erie, T-Bones. If we don't resign Barnes, I'd be interested in Jared Campbell. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about him, and it could be a possibility for sure. Trey Lance, bad guy. I'd love to see us trade back and get 4 top 101 picks. There you go. Frank the Tank, only bandwagon fans worried about the draft this year. All right. Johnny L, JDC, haha. Well, that's bad guy. I'd love to see us trade back like 5 to 8 spots, additional picks, and have 4 top 101 players. All right, JDC coach. I would like to talk about grass. Could be what we end up talking about. Trim Reaper. Did you? And I see what you did there, JDC. Did y'all know orphans aren't allowed to play baseball because they don't know where home is? Southwest. It's off-season. We are men. We love our Lions, so talking football, get over it. Off-season talk is great. I'm down with that. The Detroit Lions bad guy, it's kind of the dumbest thing I've heard. Frank the Tank, you clearly don't know nothing. All right? JDC, Trim Reaper, laughing out loud, dead jokes. Frank Tank, I know nothing. I'm just a fan. Hey, nothing wrong being a fan. Thought Service, good morning, Detroit. Back at you. Phoenix, 313, that's my draft dream. Harmon at 28 and Birch at 60. Could happen. The Trim Reaper, JDC, but it's sports related at least. It is indeed. JDC, Frank the Tank, I hear you, man. I am too. Frank Tank, you probably got mad when they drafted Gibbs and Campbell. A lot of people did. If you don't forget, a lot of people did. Spirit Detroit laughing. No huge moves coming for Brad. You never know, man. You never know. Bo Booth, I know more about what I don't know than what I do know, I think. Man, that's some wise wisdom there. Brian, good morning, Dan and crew. How many years left on a Hooker? And if we don't trade, do you give him another contract? I think there's 2 years left, if I'm not mistaken, left on his rookie deal. And, man, that's a great question if you extend him. My guess is probably not, but you never know. Maybe they are thinking he is the replacement for Goff long term. JC, as the stomach turns, another spine-tingling episode. Hey, that's why we're here, right, JDC? I'm trying to remember, how do you draw a blank? It happens, man. I don't know how you draw it, though. JDC, the Trim Reaper with a magic eraser. Ooh, there you go. Southwest, who cares about Goff haters? These, they're idiots everywhere that hates who cares. Yeah, somebody's always got a different opinion than someone else. Trim Reaper laughing. JDC, Dre Force rocks. Annie Rose, Eric Minion, good to see you, my friends. Been a minute. Good morning, Duke Crew. What's the difference between trading up in the draft and trading for a proven player that can come in and produce? The only thing I can think of, Eric, is just the basically the years on the contract, the cost. Obviously rookie contracts are going to be typically less expensive than a veteran's contract. And the fact that, if you draft a player, you didn't, unless you made a trade for that draft pick, you're not having to give up multiple picks for it. But other than that, I can't think of anything. Gun Guy, what's that I called? All right, Silent Service. I'm a huge Goff fan. Same old Lions fans are at the Goff haters. That might be. Southwest, stop whining about off-season talk. I'm be honest, get out of the chat. What the hell are we supposed to talk about? That's kind of where I'm at. Try to provide content for you guys. Just like all the Lions beat writers. I don't care if you're Dave Burkett or Benjamin Brewer or whoever else. In the offseason, 99% of it is speculation. There's not many days where you actually have breaking news. This has been confirmed. So if you're going to watch stuff or read stuff every day, you're asking the writers or the content creator to come up with something to help entertain you. If you don't like it, you probably don't really want to watch much stuff for sports in the offseason for any sport. Trim Reaper, do you know question diarrhea is hereditary? Yeah, it runs in your genes. Myles Garrett, I enjoy the rumors and sleight of hands off season. There you go. Let's see. Vincent E, Jared Goff. You're going to hear that a lot. Brian, Dan, I love the show. Don't change a thing. Best show in the universe. Thanks for that, man. Go Lions, go Goff. Woo! And back at you. Thanks for that, Brian. JK Reaper laughing out loud. Mr. Ed, good morning. Duke Crew, you have to stick with Goff and shore up that offensive line and draft defense. I agree with that. And it's no disrespect for Graham Glasgow. He didn't have his best season. And I do think he's probably his future in Detroit, if he stays, is that of a backup. JDC Trim Reaper, ban the Screaming Dreamins. All right. Andrew, what do you got? Goff has won more than any other quarterback we have ever had. And ain't that something? You got to go back to the 1950s to find a quarterback that's won more than him. And Stafford, hey, I know some people say, well, he didn't have this, he didn't have that. At the end of the day, you're judged by one thing as a quarterback. What did you do? Did you win or you didn't win? Yes, he won with the Rams. Good for him. Happy for him. He was always good in Detroit as far as a human being. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, whoever you want to point the finger at, he didn't win in Detroit. Frank Tank, what up, JDC? What up, Miles Marker? Lions for life. 100%. Gun Guy, Goff, and Bobby are the best. Lions best to date by far. I'll go with that. Brian, I officially changed my opinion. I want Garrett, but not the best move for the team. Get Mac and draft. Could be what they do. Mr. Ed, trade Hooker for draft picks only. Use them to move up in the draft. Yeah, maybe that's what they'll do. Same old soup, just reheated. What are your thoughts on Ronnie Bell? It could be a developmental guy for the team. I mean, he's been in the league for a hot minute. Could he get on the field for the Lions legitimately? We'll see. I'd say probably not, but you never know. Eric, I think Goff can still get it done. I'm not going to hold him one bad playoff game against him and just forget about the year he had. Goff did finish in the top 5 of the MVP votes. This is also true, and he's done that multiple times in his career with multiple teams. There ain't many guys out there walking on planet Earth that can say they've done that. All right, Craig, who do you like as a wide receiver in this year's draft? I think they need a big body wide receiver, especially if Patrick leaves. I can't remember the guy's name. He's from TCU. He's 6'5". He's got some wheels. He's big body. I would like to see him improve his catch radius a little bit more, but that's a teachable thing. So me as a scout or former general manager, I'm always looking for things I can't teach in a player. That TCU kid's got that. JDC, hi, Frank. Like your eye, I'm killing time here in Lions Talk Live. Okay. Southwest, I see Dallas getting more wins than Washington this year. Coming season, I think they stink when they are a bulletin board material. They got smoked against Philly. They did indeed. Mr. Ed, don't forget Goff is working on his running game. He's trying to improve like last year. Steve Cade, Dan, you're a blessed man if your wife works out. Just saying. Woo! Yeah, that's basically what one of the things she does for a living. So she's a trainer. Rocky M, wow, coach, sounds like a few good things happened while I was gone. Congratulations. Hey, thanks for that, man. Good to have you back, my friend. Jason, congrats again on the wedding. Thank you for that, Jason. Myles Garrett, crazy legs Goff. Probably a very accurate assessment of his situation there. Dynamite, Walter on defense tech on Derek Harmon. Good, too. I'll take them both. 9 drinks. Good morning, Duke Crew. Made out early today. Hey, way to get out of work early. Hopefully you're enjoying the show on your way home. Johnny Gaz, good morning, Dan and Duke Crew. Happy Monday. Have a great week. Back at you, my friend. Hopefully it is a phenomenal start to your week. Southwest, we're still putting up 30 points at home. What team loses at home in the playoffs scoring 30 points on the defense? Injuries caught up to us, period. Yeah, I'd say that's fairly accurate, man. JC, bottom line, when the Lions take the field next time, Hutch will be there. I think so, too. Mr. Ed, can you name 4 quarterbacks that won Super Bowls that weren't mobile? And can you name 4 that won Super Bowls that weren't mobile? All right, let's see what I can do here. I guess Tom Brady will be the first one to come to mind. Joe Montana was fairly mobile. I mean, he wasn't like a runner, but he was mobile. Phil Simms. How about McMahon with the Bears? After that, man, I don't know, man. I'd have to really start thinking about it. Troy Aikman. Aikman was not incredibly mobile. So there's a couple at least I throw out there. Myles Garrett, hi, 9 drinks. Grit. Corey, what do you got? I don't see Staff going to the Vikings. He may hate Detroit fans, but he still has love for Detroit. I don't think he wanted to face us 2 times a year till he retires. It could be that too. Maybe he won't go there because of it. DM5, bottom line, Brad Holmes needs to do everything in his power this offseason to bring a Super Bowl to Detroit this year. If he doesn't, he failed. Go Lions. All right. JDC, Ed, Jared Goff next year. Silent service. We may need to trade, but it won't be Garrett. The Browns aren't moving him. $60 million dead cap if he does. Okay. I'm in 2026-27 for Garrett. Gun guy, take your pants off. Hey, now we're up to speed. Myles Garrett, DM5. So all those injuries last season, he lay on Brad Holmes' feet. He brought us the back-to-back division champs. He did that. John, go get Crosby. I wonder if they can. Ed, JDC, yep. DM5, Myles Garrett. No, I'm talking about this year. You got to read me, buddy. There we go. Dynamite, which DE from Oregon? We'll find out. Myles Garrett, so you mean he will have failed this upcoming year? I took you to mean he failed in total. DM5. All right. Here's Dynamite, probably Harmon, the defensive tackle. There you go. Mark, good morning. Dan, go Lions. Holmes Depot will spend $2 in free agency. Can he get 5 players for that? Spirit of Detroit. Can he get 5 for 2? He wants his $2. Some will get that reference, some won't. Dynamite, Harmon helps. Yes, I'm down with that. Pierce, Dynamite, the future with Harmon and Mac would be nice. It would be indeed. DM5, no, Myles Garrett is the best GM we've ever had, but his dollar store mentality might cost us. It could. Dynamite, Holmes Depot department. There we go. Curcio, busy morning, but there is a boss up ball out show at 8 a.m. We'll get you right over there. I'll try to finish up here. Earl, Dan, give me a Ric Flair. Woo! You want a Ricky Flair? I'll give you a 1-2. And there you go, Earl. Ted, hear that Jackson may be cut by Rams and that we may pick him up. What do you think? Is he worth it? In my opinion, no. He's just injured too much. Good player, but he's got to be able to stay healthy to be able to justify it. Unless you're going to get him as a backup, a rotational guy. 3-1-T, I don't see Harmon there at 60. Me neither. And Antoine, what do you got? No more project players. All right, I'll go with that. JDC, tick, tick, tick. Bo Booth, Happy Trails, Dude Crew, all done and dusted this Monday morning. See you tomorrow. We'll see you then. Dynamite, definitely Pierce. JDC, Happy Trails, go Lions victory. Pierce, especially with Reader, only have 1 year left on his deal. I think so, too. I think that will come into play. DM5, if we can get a number 1 defense, we'll be fine. We just do that by getting Garrett. Okay? Sarge, the breaking news comes 2 weeks from today with free agency starts. I know we're all chomping at the bit for that, and you're right with that. The news will hit then. Diamond, I agree, Pierce. That's the move to make. All right. The JDC, 95% of what Coach talks about is chat from us. This is also true. This is very true. Rob, Bobby Lane drank more before 9 a.m. than most people drink all day. You are not wrong with that one. Trey Murray, kids, let's the ding dong loose. Woo! I'm winning, but back. Okay. DM5, don't be a hater, JDC. Brent, Happy Trails, One Pride, Worldwide. JDC, DM5 TV, I am not a hater. Henry Moore, have a great day, everyone. Have a better day tomorrow. Go Lions. Back at you, my friend. JDC usually. Dynamite. The big body wide receiver is Higgins from Iowa State. There you go. Trim Reaper. What up, brother? Johnny Gaz? Yeah, Johnny Gaz is a good dude. Hooky doo. Happy Trails, Duke Crew, One Pride. Dynamite Southwest here. I'm here from that way too. Okay. Rock, morning weren't mobile. The Mannings weren't mobile. Oh, that's a good point too. Both of them were not mobile. Phil, Manning brothers. Correct. Great call there. I didn't even think about him. Gun guy, the best QB to do it wasn't mobile. That's also true. Yeah, Tom Brady ain't beating too many people in foot races. Pierce, Phil Bradley also. All right. Corey, Bradley, Stafford, Nick Foles. All right. Pierce. Phil, Drew Brees, another one. Man, I didn't even think of Drew Brees. Thank you guys for helping me out. Brian, no need to go further than Tom Brady. All right, Miles One Pride, JDC, Magic 8 Ball says defense wins the big one. Gun guy, Drew Brees. All right, Miles Myers, Sia, Hookadoo. Brian, Stafford definitely is definitely not mobile. What are people talking about? There's been plenty of non-mobile quarterbacks. This is all true. Dynamite, my brother, says Southwest. Dynamite, what up, dope? Trim Raber. Brady, all three Mannings. There's your four. Favre, yeah. Stafford, Big Ben for a couple extra non-mobile winners. Okay, Ted, congratulations on your marriage. Thank you very much for that. Very much, Ted. Keitho, let's try Manu at D-line. Ooh, they could do that. John, send a 1 and a second and a bag of chips to the Raiders for Max. I mean, maybe they'll take it. Maybe they'll have to be Takis because I do love me some spicy ones. David, if having a running quarterback is what you need for the Super Bowl, then why does Stafford have a Super Bowl and Allen and Jackson don't? You don't have a pocket passer and a good D win it. Correct. Southwest laughing. Dynamite, a small world. It is indeed. Jason in Brooklyn. What up, Duke Crew? Morning and slay the day. 100%. I like the way you're thinking. Johnny Unitas says JDC. Southwest. Brett ran all over the place. All right, guys. If there is breaking news later today, I'll get it to you as soon as possible. If you would be so kind before checking out, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Other than that, be a good human being. Do something kind for someone you don't know. See you guys all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, all.
Excuse me, sir, would you... Donation to the Reverend Moon? Juice for Jesus?
Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism?
Of Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology?
Or nuclear power?